Well, it's over. With the final 2 episodes of Smiling Friends airing just 2 days ago, that also brings the end of the series. And I'm not reacting like most people who are probably getting down on the floor curling into fetal position, just with a picture of Zach Hadel and Charlie right next to their face, just pressing it like, how could you do this to me? We had such a good thing going! As they're just crying violently, just wishing for more. I'm more in the camp that I'm just happy we got it in the first place. I've always preached that shows like Family Guy, The Simpsons, and SpongeBob have just went on for too long, that it's just clearly for the money at this point. So having a show like Smiling Friends, which is so unbelievably popular, you'd obviously want it to go on for a very long time. But if the creators don't have a passion for it anymore, if they don't want to keep on doing it, the episodes that come out are just gonna feel half-assed. They're not gonna feel the same. It's just going to feel like watching the show slowly degrade into not one of the greatest adult animated shows of the past 10 years. So I'd rather them go out on a win, go out on top, instead of watching a show I love slowly degrade into something that I just don't care about. So yeah, today I'm going to be ranking every single episode of Smiling Friends as a way to say goodbye to the series that I love, ranking them all from worst to best. If you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe. I promise I'll make it worth your while. Now let's finally take a look at every single episode of Smiling Friends. At 27 is the episode Mr. President, and in all honesty, this episode's main reason for me disliking it is just the fact that it hinges on gross out humor so much, with Mr. President just being a big, meaty, fat man who likes to eat lamb and shit himself on national television.
I can talk good and give a good speech. Oh, excuse me. I think that lamb I had earlier was rotten.
And I just don't find it to be very funny. It's the only episode in Smiling Friends that I genuinely cannot rewatch at all because I just find it to be so unbelievably abysmal. It is just not good to watch a fat bumbling oaf just walk around pooping himself a lot. I do like the underground ring of worms controlling the entire world, and once they learn that Mr. Frog eats bugs, I'm Mr. Frog, I eat the bug, this is my show, then they just completely switch up and want to make Mr. President the actual president once again, and then it all hinges on Glep's vote, and Glep voted for Mr. Frog, so Mr. Frog is president. So it's okay. Like, I'm not gonna say it's the worst thing ever. If I was to rate it 1 to 10, I would probably give it like a 4 out of 10. I just think Mr. President is really gross and I can't get past it, so that's why it's the lowest rated episode in the series. At 26 is the episode The Smiling Friends Go to Brazil, and the only reason that this episode is ranking so unbelievably low is just for the fact that there's way better episodes of Smiling Friends. Even though it's just 11 minutes of talking, I still find myself enjoying this thoroughly. Just all the conversations of arguing are still really fun and somehow feel very real in this whimsical, magical world, and then you just get one of the most like quotable things ever that I still say to this day when they're all just talking about how they're gonna solve their hotel problem, and a random Brazilian man walks up, is just, are you tourist? Do you have any cash? Are you tourist? You have the cash? Oh, enjoy Brazil. It's a beautiful country. Oh yeah.
But
figuring something
you are
out.
a tourist. But are you a
Yes, we're
tourist?
tourists.
Are
Yes,
you a tourist?
yes, we have everything figured out.
Do you have any cash?
Oh, you have any cash? I love that guy. I love that so much. And just Charlie's reaction of, like, I was gonna punch that guy. I would have taken care of it, but you know. And then they just all like pinpoint Pim as the problem because they're not getting to stay at Brazil. They even call Mr. Boss, and he has a natural reaction saying that it was a horrible time to go there, not anything whimsical or fun. It's just still somehow insanely entertaining to watch these guys just not have a hotel and talk about it in an airport for 11 minutes. It's beautifully done. I loved it, but compared to a lot of other episodes of Smiling Friends, it's not my favorite. So if I was to rate it 1 to 10, I would probably give it a like 6 out of 10. At 25, this might piss some people off because I know when I talked about it the last time I made a Smiling Friends video, a lot of people were extremely butthurt. They were like, oh, he doesn't love the same episode as me. I'm gonna, and then they had a heart attack and collapsed on the floor because they just couldn't handle a differing opinion. But I don't really like the Glep ep that much. I think it's a fine episode. Maybe it's because I was going into it expecting way too much, and that's mainly a Alid Adventures fault because that episode was so unbelievably well done that I love that episode to pieces. It's one of my favorites in the entire series. That going into the Glep ep, I had so much hype into it, and it's been a few months, so I've had some time to sit with this episode, and it just doesn't get that much better for me. I like the concept of learning about Glep's history, like when he was in the Roman Empire, and he started doing a little bit of a dance, a little bit of a jig, and the Roman Emperor just kills himself in response, like, what is that? That was so stupid! And then he just commits suicide.
What? That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life! I hate that! I hate it! I hate it! I hate it! I'm going insane! Ah!
I do like the scene in which he's talking to our forefathers and they're all having a great time, and then it's just who invited this guy?
He's coming in, yeah. He's waiting.
Okay. Who invited him again?
Oh no! I think it's funny. I enjoy it. I'm not saying it's a bad episode, it's just compared to a lot of episodes in the series, it's not that good. I find it to be really underwhelming, and it's definitely one that I would prefer not to rewatch. I can rewatch it, but it's just definitely not my favorite. I do like the wholesome ending where the entire Smiling Friends HQ is just in chaos without Glep, and they just think about how much Glep means to them and that he's the glue that holds it all together. I think that's very entertaining. I like it, but it's just not my favorite. If I was to rate it 1 to 10, I would probably also give this one a 6 out of 10. At number 24 is the episode Friendbot, and this episode actually does give me a decent amount of laughs. Maybe it's just because it's newer and I just don't really have a big appreciation for it, but I just think there's way better episodes of this show. I think the opening of it is really funny, where Pim is just like, Charlie, how was your day? Are you doing good? And Charlie's like, no, Pim. I went to the hospital and my protein powder, I've been taking it for months, and apparently it's just been sand. And he got scammed, and somebody was just selling him sand as protein powder. That is just so inherently fucked. And when you think about it, like, if you just colored sand and it was ground up enough, you could totally get somebody to just sit there and eat and drink sand. So it's not like that far-fetched, but I can't imagine just taking that for months and then all of a sudden you go to the doctor and just like, what have you been eating? What is this? That just sounds really funny to me. So then Mr. Boss appears out of nowhere and just like slowly slides his way up and just starts doing some good old ASMR. You boys got a job.
Anything off? Oh, hello.
Hey boys, guess what?
What?
You just got a job.
And so they go to see this really fat guy, like I'm talking like my 600-pound life needs a crane to be moved kind of fat, like genuinely, like slightly bigger than Lizzo. It is definitely a just big man, and he's drinking a lot, he's eating a lot, and he has this little robot helping him do everything. And then eventually, you know, taking one look at this man, he does exactly what you would expect. He has a big old-fashioned heart attack, just dies right there. And so now Charlie and Pim have a friend bot, a robot that is capable of doing everything. And I absolutely love this scene where Charlie is just like, well, you could do anything, turn Pim into a hot dog, and it prints a little picture of Pim as a hot dog, and Charlie's like, what? No way! How did you even, what?
Holy fuck, man, this is insane. How did you do that?
Just starts panicking. I love that. And so they all start using and abusing this little robot. And the reason I say abusing is because of what Mr. Boss does to him. We get a really horrible montage, like I hate it. But just at a certain point, like at one clip, you see Mr. Boss go into town on the robot, just thrusting deep into that guy. I was not expecting Mr. Boss to get freaky with that thing. I didn't expect to watch Mr. Boss get extra freaky with that thing, but it was a welcome surprise, I guess. So then eventually, as the episode goes on, Pim and all of them start fighting over the robot, and they eventually get his helmet off, and it's revealed to be a Indian scammer going, I'm sorry everyone, I didn't know how to make friends. I read this somewhere online, that this is how you make friends. So that was pretty surprising and also really funny. That's pretty much the entire episode. Again, just a little bit underwhelming, a little bit mediocre. I find that episodes that are mediocre stand out a lot more because of how good Smiling Friends is, so it just leads me to not enjoy the episode as much. But still, even if I was going to rate this episode, it would still be a 6 out of 10, which is a decent rating, because it's a decent episode. It's Smiling Friends. It really doesn't have that many bad episodes. It's just compared to a lot of them, it's not the best. At 23 is the episode Pym finally turns green, and in this episode, the Smiling Friends create a living snowman who is a very funny interpretation of a Frosty the Snowman type parody, where he just doesn't understand life and the concept of death really frightens him, so he just starts screaming violently, so they eventually leave him atop a mountain. And I really like the scene where the Yeti brings him back and is like, "You leave this on my property? My kids are, I couldn't bring them to school. My wife is in hysterics. I don't know what the fuck is going on." I really love that scene. The entire interaction between Pym and Charlie and the Yeti is hilarious.
Okay, rude.
Huh? What's up? Yeah, that's what I thought. Pussy.
And then everything else is just okay to me for the most part. I like that they try to give him a decent life. They put him in the freezer. They eventually take him to the beach and he fucking dies. And then he becomes the ocean and starts murdering people. I think it's an okay episode. It really only gets me to laugh a couple of times, so that's its only hindrance. It's definitely not my favorite, but it's still a very enjoyable watch, so 6 out of 10. At 22 is the episode Curse of the Halloween Green Witch, and in this episode, the Smiling Friends, they get a knock on the door, and it's the Halloween Green Witch, see, being like, "Oh, you must give me a nickel, oh, I need it so badly, or I'm going to curse you, please just give me a dime, oh, give it to me now." And they refuse, they don't want to give that hoe a dime, so they go inside, and they now have the Curse of the Halloween Green Witch, which just causes everybody to be extremely mean to Pym, so much so that he eventually snaps, murdering them all. Now, the journey to get there is also pretty damn enjoyable. I mean, we get things like, I don't know, Charlie's face literally melting, or Alan becoming a spider and just being like, "Me was born this way. I've always looked like this. Oh, I'm going to shove it into my tummy." It's just very odd, but it's very good, at least to me. Mr. Boss finds his mother, who takes his eyeballs for being a bad, horrible son, and Pym finally snaps and just starts brutally murdering them all, choking Charlie, spraying pesticide on Alan, murdering Mr. Boss with a knife, killing even the janitor, and I absolutely adore the reveal that none of this was real, and it's the Halloween Green Witch being like, "This is what will happen if you don't give me a dime." And then Mr. Boss just starts choking her, just like, "Come on, bro, tap out, tap out."
You had enough? Huh? You had enough? Huh? Tap out. Tap out, man.
That shit is hilarious. I loved that so much. And just what makes it even better, that the Green Witch isn't even really the villain of the episode. It's her coming home to her husband and just having a rough day. I mean, being strangled by a big sensual man like Mr. Boss is bound to make anybody start crying. But she's crying and just the dude is all like, "Maybe this is a bad time, but you said you were gonna suck it. You said you were gonna suck it, you promised." What are you talking about, dude? Your wife's crying. I know she looks like a disgusting little piece of meat like Amy Schumer after getting out of the shower, but it's just not... Come on, man. She can't suck it now. Maybe in like 10 minutes. I don't know. Either way, I really enjoy this episode. It's a lot more of a spectacle than a comedy, but it's still a very good episode of Smiling Friends. The animation is superb. It looks really great, especially every single death. The fire even looks amazing within this episode. It's animated extremely well, so I'm going to give this one a 7 out of 10. At 21 is a silly Halloween special, and I really do enjoy this episode. It has a similar vibe to a Curse of a Halloween Green Witch, but I just end up laughing at this one a lot more, and I really like Pym as a character, which probably makes me enjoy it even more than the first one, because although it's great to watch Pym snap and lose control and just kill people, that's kind of all it was. It was mainly just focused on the animation. Here, I get some good laughs, I get more of a look into Pym's character, and I just find it more enjoyable overall, but both of the episodes are mainly spectacles. In this episode, Pym is told to go and get some firewood, but not go over that rickety bridge. But he decides to go over the rickety bridge anyway, and he meanders over there, and he gets a little bit lost and starts getting tormented by a black forest demon. It's very important that he's black, okay? He's a black forest demon. That's important for later. And so Pym, he just starts running away. He eventually ends up in this house, and I absolutely love this scene where he's like, "Okay, I just need to calm down. I'm gonna picture my loving wife, my family, my kids," and they're like, hello Daddy Pym," and then he just gets tormented and lightning strikes and his children are fucking dead.
You'll never escape. You're gonna die here, Pym.
so he has to run away once again, and he's running through the forest. He eventually ends up back at Smiling Friends, and the Black Forest Demon walks in, and they take one look at him, because he's a black man, and assume that he's doing blackface. And the main issue with this is, like, he's genuinely saying that this is just how he looks. Like, it's just who he is. So, my question is if a black man walked into Smiling Friends HQ, would they have also teared him limb from limb in shreds because they just wouldn't have believed on Halloween that a black person could exist? Because he's just dead-ass saying, like, before they brutally murder this Black Forest Demon for wearing blackface, that, no, this is just how I look, I can't take this off, I'm an actual demon.
Whoa! Is that blackface, dude?
No, this isn't blackface. I'm an actual demon.
I don't know. They go ballistic on him and start mauling him to death and brutally slaughter that guy. But I wonder if a normal dude just walked in, would they have done the same? I don't know. Who's to say? Either way, this one blends that Halloween type feel, that genuinely a spectacle type vibe with great animation with a little bit more comedy, which is why I'm ranking it just a little bit higher than a Curse of a Halloween Green Witch. I would say that this one is a 7 out of 10 as well for me. At 20 is the episode Who Violently Murdered Simon S. Salty, and when we get into the top 20, I kind of like all these episodes a lot, so ranking them is really hard. In all honesty, this is more just to show appreciation for the show than an actual ranking, but either way, some people might be pissed off by this one being ranked so low. I just I don't know, it's not as funny as other episodes to me. Charlie and Pim are tasked with a crime investigations because apparently the police force can't do it anymore, and Mr. Boss is like, hey boys, time to get out there and solve some crime, so they have to find out who murdered Simon S. Salty, and they have to interrogate a bunch of food mascots at the restaurant, and I find it to be enjoyable. I think all the food mascots are just whimsical and stupid in their own way and add to the episode. I think they're funny. Charlie getting seduced is really hilarious, and then the big reveal at the end when they're watching the tape, and apparently everybody murdered Simon S. Salty. They all slaughtered him in brutal ways, and then eventually they go back far enough and he actually just had a heart attack from eating all the grease, so it was actually grease who killed them, and I enjoy this episode quite a lot. I think it has a fun plot. I like that it just stays in one location for the entire episode. It kind of makes it feel a lot more cohesive to me, so I do enjoy it. I like the food mascots. I think every character in it is a lot of fun. The ending where they all break out and just start wreaking havoc upon the world is also really cool. I think it's a decent enough episode, but I think there's just way more comedic episodes out there, so this one's still a 7 out of 10, but it's not my favorite. At 19 is the episode Charlie, Pim, and Bill versus the Alien, and in this episode, Charlie is dragged along to a UFO group meeting with Pim, and they're just talking about UFOs. Charlie doesn't believe any of this until they end up getting abducted, where they wake up and Bill is getting his innards eaten, so I don't know why they had to name the episode And Bill if he was going to last about 2 minutes before having his yummy ribs taken for a ride. But then, as Charlie and Pim are about to be eaten, it turns out a bigger spaceship abducts the little spaceship, and now they're at a super awesome party. And I really like the subversion of Charlie and Pim thinking an alien is about to eat them, and then he's just like, hey yo, you guys got a lighter? And they end up going to the super awesome party, and they want to prove that they're super awesome, so they take some drugs, they have a decent time, and they're partying it up, and they want to leave, but they're not allowed to, so these alien guys just start taking them for a wild ride, making them blow up planets and tormenting them, and then eventually they get raided by the police. It's a good progression of an episode. I really like the plot of this one. It just doesn't make me laugh that much. There's not really a lot of scenes that I find that funny within this episode, except for the ending, where Pim and Charlie barely manage to escape. They're flying home, and they end up getting there, and they see that the Earth is flat.
We're looking at it, dude. The Earth is flat. The Earth. The Earth is flat.
Charlie, the Earth can't actually be flat, right?
I absolutely adore that scene because just the pure shock on their faces, how it changes everything, how this is just so unbelievably absurd. I love the ending a lot, but the rest of the episode just doesn't make me laugh. I still enjoy it from an entertainment standpoint, but other than that, it's not my favorite. At 18 is the episode of Shrimp's Odyssey, and this one's just really funny because they're trying to help a little shrimpy man deal with his breakup. Pim goes and tries to find the girl that broke up with him to try to rekindle that romance, while Charlie tries to help him love himself, taking him to the tanning salon, and he's a shrimp, so that doesn't work quite well. He goes to the gym and tries to, lift some iron, and just it brutally assaults him, so that was also pretty good.
Okay.
there is nothing they could do for the shrimp. At the same time, Pim is talking to a beautiful woman. He locks eyes with her, and he's like, I don't like kids, Charlie! I don't like kids! Because he realizes that he wants to be with a fully grown woman. Pim is finally no longer a predator. That is a huzzah moment right there. So Pim, falling in love with this woman, he decides he doesn't really want to give it to Shrimp. He doesn't want that woman to see Shrimp and try to fall in love again, so he tries to go through with having a date with her. That doesn't quite work out because he's just too morally on a high ground, so he brings her over, and apparently they have never seen each other before. This woman is not Shrimpina, and I love Charlie's reaction. Dude, she would be a shrimp. What kind of sane person would name their human daughter Shrimpina? You know? I wonder if there is anybody in the world actually named Shrimpina. If that is, that's pretty depressing. But either way, the woman takes one look at Shrimp and starts passionately making out with him because, of course. So Pim gets cucked by a shrimp. Yep, that's pretty great. Cucked by a shrimp. What else could you need? I really like this episode. It's an 8 out of 10. At 17 is the episode The Magical Red Jewel, aka the one where Tyler gets fired. Oh, it's so sad. Oh god, Tyler. Oh, Tyler, I miss you, Tyler. But yeah, this episode has two major plot lines. One where Mr. Boss and Pim are going to Spamtopia to buy a red jewel, and also Charlie and Alan watching Jason, Mr. Boss's son. So Mr. Boss and Pim, they leave, they start going to Spamtopia, and Charlie and Alan start having some wondrous conversations like, geez, I don't really like being alone with you because last time we were together, you sucked on my nose, which is true. At the end of Desmond's big day out, Alan just like sucks on his nose. Yeah, and he's like, I don't even remember doing that. What are you talking about? And then they're just talking, and then Jason just fucking dies.
It happened. What happened?
He just dies. He just starts screaming and dies. And it's so funny. And they just start arguing and fighting because they killed the baby. It's so hilarious. I don't know why Jason had to die in such horrible, atrocious ways. But Pim and Mr. Boss are at Spamtopia. And they're meeting up with this eye guy. The only rule is to not look people in the eye, and a mosquito just gets onto his eye and starts sucking him dry, sucking him real good, sucking him better than anybody's ever sucked him. And eventually Pim just can't contain himself, and he looks at the eye, so they're going to die. Man, that rhymes. I feel like I'm in a Dr. Seuss book right now. So because he looked at the eye and that wasn't so fly, they're going to die. They all sit in line, and now they're going to have their spine ripped. Ha! And so he starts going around ripping everybody's spine who was a criminal that day, and then eventually Pim realizes that the guy ripping everything was his old pen pal. And so he doesn't kill them. They get the magical red jewel, and then he says there's no laws, so Spamtopia just turns into chaos. I love the animation here. I love the blend of Pim and Mr. Boss's animation style with this like computerized world shattering and breaking apart. I think it's awesome as they fly away and they eventually get back, and they have to break the news that Jason is dead, but because of the magical red jewel, he could come back to life. And that's pretty much the entire episode. I really enjoyed this one. I love the A plot. I love the B plot. I think it was thoroughly done. I think this episode has great animation and just a lot of surprises that made me laugh. So if I was to give it a 1 to 10 rating, I would probably give it a solid 7 out of 10. At 16 is the episode The Boss Finds Love. And in this episode, Mr. Boss gets shacked up. Finally, he finds a woman who's gonna love him. She initially looks hot, she's got a hot body, and then it's revealed that she's got a very ugly mug. But hey, if Mr. Boss is happy, that's all that counts. And she starts sucking him dry. Not in a sensual way that would make you bust, but in the way that she's clearly taking his life essence and using him to her advantage. And I like all the build up to this. I like Charlie's knife that he apparently bought that has really a lot of importance for a while. I like the scene in which Alan shows up and he's like, oh, did they leave? I just spent an hour in line getting them coffees. And so Charlie and Pim drink that, and then they realize that this woman seems to be sucking him dry and is probably a spawn of Satan. So they go back to Charlie's house and start looking her up and trying to figure out like what she's all about. And there's like that weird mannequin from that one internet video that's really terrifying, and Alan's like, is that thing going to jump scare me? It's really frightening. I don't want it here. I don't like it here. And then eventually does jump scare them, and I thought that was really entertaining.
Fuck fucking hell!
Alan, it's fine.
I
It's
knew it was
fine.
gonna do that.
You're fine. Let's just go kill the boss's wife.
And I thoroughly enjoy that throughout the entire episode, Charlie basically says that he can't get jump scared. It's not possible. It's not something that could ever happen, and it won't happen. And so they eventually go to kill Brittany to save Mr. Boss. And when they arrive, it's just so fucking dumb because Alan's like literally in his monster hunting gear. He's ready to go and kill them. And then he's like, oh, they're like, aren't you coming out? And he's like, I can't. I have an appointment with Dr. Monster. Oh, what does that even mean? I have to go now. Bye. What the fuck are you even talking about? Like, it's shit like this that makes me love this show. So Charlie and Pym, they go up there to kill Brittany. And they go to stab her, and apparently Charlie bought a fake knife. Brittany wakes up, and she starts panicking because, you're being so mean to me! And she jumps out the window and kills herself, so, yeah, that was great. Great way to deal with it. And so they try to revive Mr. Boss, and he ends up jump scaring Charlie, and Charlie's like, oh, I got a heart problem. Yeah. And Alan comes back, and he's like, I'm back from my appointment with Dr. Monster. It's pretty much the entire episode. I think it's really funny. I love this episode. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. It's kind of more like a Halloween episode. I think it's the Halloween episode for that season, and it's probably one of my favorite episodes in the series. It's so funny. It's weird saying one of my favorite episodes in the series at number 16. I really love this one.
Friends, and we just wanted... Frowning friends?
At 15 is the episode Frowning Friends, and in this episode, Charlie and Pym notice a new neighbor is moving in across from the Smiling Friends HQ, and it is the Frowning Friends. Also, the Renaissance Men are coming into town. We don't know what that means yet, but it has some important implications. And so, now Charlie and Pym have to try to compete with the Frowning Friends. I mainly like this episode because we get a lot of different character actions that I think are really funny, as well as Mr. Boss's crumbling mental state, which is also hilarious. Charlie and Pym, they're going around trying to make people smile, to stop the Frowning Friends from also making people frown. But the Frowning Friends, they just beat everybody there. They meet this weird, I don't know, elongated word man where they try to tell him that he is a good SoundCloud rapper, and he's all like, get out of me head! Get out of me head, man! Get out of me head! And so they go to knock on a guy's door, and they're trying to tell him that he looks handsome, and then he takes off his head, and it's the same SoundCloud rapper saying, get out of me head!
Out of my head! Get out of my head! Get out of my head!
Yeah, that was pretty good. I like 3D Squilliam and how he wants to make balloons, but they just tell him that all the helium is running out of the world. So Charlie and Pym, they just don't know what to do. At the same time, Mr. Boss is like, oh, the Frowning Friends, fuck, that's genius. Why not think of that? And wants to brutally murder them. So he starts going over there with an AK. And just points it at one of the guys, and he pisses himself violently, and he learns that he does want to live, and there's stuff to live for, which makes him smile, and then the Renaissance Men come anyway and brutally murder the Frowning Friends. It is just such a, like, rapid amount of sequences happening all together at the same time, and it just never fails to make me laugh. I would rank this one an 8 out of 10. I love it. At 14 is the episode Silly Samuel, and this one juggles a really good A and B plot once again, and I don't really think there's a dull moment within this episode. Charlie and Pym, they have to go and help Silly Samuel, who is just a guy who can't help but looking silly because of the way that he was born, so they gotta try and help him. So they initially take him to the doctor, and he just gets one of the, like, most tragic prognoses you could ever have, like, oh man, you want to get some cosmetic surgery? Well, it turns out that your entire lobster claw arm is a giant artery that goes up to your head, so if we did anything, you would just fucking die. Oh, and you want to wear clothes? No, you actually breathe out of your skin, and if you wore any clothes, you just can't do that. Yeah, so that's really funny. At the same time, Mr. Boss is like, Alan, I'm bored. They get a knock on the door, and it's the health inspector, and Mr. Boss says the iconic line, Alan, we are so fucked. Why? I just think it's so hilarious. God, I know it's just because it's a meme, but it's just, could you just give me a sec? Alan, we are so fucked. Why?
Oh, can you give me a sec?
Alan, we are so fucked. Why?
It's so stupid, but it's so good. And the health inspector walks in and everything with the health. And the health inspector is also really good with him like tapping on the wall and seeing the guy from the first season just dead, just a corpse in there. And then eventually finding the screw that holds the entire building to the ground and pulling it, which causes them to just start rolling rapidly around. Then Silly Samuel just has to suffer a lot more. He's not really capable of anything. He gets bullied at the circus. Eventually, it's just a crowd forming around him just saying, oh, he's so silly. And then eventually that giant ball is rolling towards them. He tries to warn everybody, but nobody listens. And so they barely manage to survive thanks to Glep. And now everybody takes Silly Samuel seriously. I just think both the A and the B plot are really funny, especially with the ending where the little dude just vanishes after saying, oh, that was some fun shit. I think we should be best friends. And then he just disintegrates. Like, what the fuck?
Oh my gosh.
Feel good.
Either way, great episode. It's an 8 out of 10 for me. At 13 is the episode Squim Returns, and in this episode, Charlie decides to call out of work just to play a video game. So he eats some yummy kebabs, which will have some implications for later, and at the same time, Pim meets Squim, who is just a over-the-top, just wacky little character who wants to help everybody smile. So Pim and him go on an adventure, and Squim solves things really fast. They eventually go to an ice cream shop, and because the dude starts talking about his dead wife, he just looks at him and frowns and is like, that's not positive. What are you even talking about? And just starts dancing on this dude's dead wife, just starts dancing and screaming.
Every day.
Oh, your wife is dead? Oh, that's not positive. Oh, you gotta be positive. You gotta do the Squim dance. Do a little squim.
And that was pretty odd. So Squim, he starts panicking and wanting to make everybody smile. And at the same time, because Charlie ate those kebabs and he gets called back into work because Mr. Boss finds out he's not actually sick, he starts having a bad trip. I don't know what kind of psychedelics were inside of those fucking kebabs. Probably salvia at this point, but Charlie was not ready for that trip. And so he just starts going fucking insane. And all the animations for Charlie's bad trip are really well done and honestly look absolutely horrifying, as Charlie eventually gets naked, and Squim, upon having to be positive, he runs out in front of a naked Charlie, seeing a naked man, and starts hitting a little bit of a jig, so he gets violently shot and murdered. And yeah, that was a great way to end that. Turns out that Charlie ate like a kebab demon and should not get that flavor anymore. Either way, it's a very entertaining episode. I would rank it an 8 out of 10. I enjoy it thoroughly. Not my favorite yet, but we're getting into some of my favorite episodes of all time. At number 12 is the episode Charlie's Uncle Dies and Doesn't Come Back, and in all honesty, I found this episode to be underwhelming when I initially watched it, but just the Alan side plot genuinely got me to like slap my knees violently in excitement and gave me a big old belly laugh, which, in all honesty, it's very hard to get me to laugh out loud, to lull it up when I'm watching any form of media nowadays. Usually it's just an internal laugh, like, that was funny, and I don't actually like just bust out laughing, but this episode made me laugh in so many good ways. And so the episode, they have to go and help Charlie's uncle, and he's just kind of a voluptuous douchebaggy pig, like a big meaty piggy, and he's just very mean to Charlie and pisses on the floor, throws yummy dollars onto strippers, just gets pills. He's not a very good dude. I don't really care for this plotline very much. I do like the culmination of it where Charlie finally punches him, and then they end up getting let out of this jail cell, but it turns out that he has to stay there because he's like the something pest, like the sexual pest or whatever, and Charlie's uncle is a vulgar monster. I don't really care about that. That part of the episode was fine. It was entertaining. It's not gonna like downgrade the episode. But the Alan plotline is so good, with him going on a date with a beautiful woman. He's like, oh, hello. You look quite beautiful tonight. The moon is shining. Would you care to dance? And they start hitting a jig. Somebody yells at them, and they eventually are strolling the beach, and it's like, I'm having a wonderful time with you. And they start play fighting, getting down and dirty with each other, and they start passionately making out. At the same time, Charlie and Pim are walking, or just walking a dog, and the dog comes and starts ripping off her face. And initially I was like, no, Alan! You're a beautiful woman, you landed her! You was born this way. You deserved that woman, Alan. No. And then it just rips off her skin, and it was Mr. Landlord.
Mr. Landlord?
Damn, boiled again! Damn you to hell, my genius plan ruined!
God, it was just so stupid. Just, hello, Alan. Like, what the fuck? This was all part of my plan to play Burnout Revenge for the PS2 and fill our bellies with diet soda and smoke weed. Like, what the fuck? He committed seppuku. Why is he back? Mr. Landlord, I thought you died. It's so funny. That's probably one of my greatest twists in the entire series. That was so unbelievably hilarious. I have never, like, I do knee slaps for these videos, like, for comedy purposes, because it's really funny to slap your knees, but it's a rare instance when I genuinely just start, just because of how funny something was. Like, that was fucking hilarious. I couldn't believe that Mr. Landlord was this beautiful woman in disguise this entire time. Never fails to make me smile, even just thinking about it. So yeah, that one's an 8 out of 10 for me. At number 11 is Charlie dies and doesn't come back. And in this episode, Charlie ends up getting crushed by a Christmas tree because he just doesn't believe in the power of Christmas magic and he just is a negative Nancy, which causes him to go all the way down to hell. And we get a lot of good scenes out of this where he's looking for Satan to try to make him smile. And he runs into his grandma who is just deep-throating a lollipop, just doing what Granny always did best, just... Oh god. Yeah, just doing that good stuff, and then this, like, little black demon guy starts following him around, this, like, little demon who's going... And Charlie threatens him and says, if you do that again, I'm gonna punch you. And Charlie just meanders his way through hell, and the thing goes... and punches him, and he's just like... Aww.
I think the biggest surprises are behind me.
And I know I'm just describing it to you, but either way, it's fucking hilarious. I don't care. One of the best scenes in all of Smiling Friends. And he eventually finds Satan, and Satan is literally just chudding it, just chudding it up, just being a chud, just being lazy, playing, like, I don't know, probably Rust. I think he's playing Rust. I can't remember at the top of my head. He seems like the type of guy that would play Rust and just rot away. He's vaping, he's door dashing, he hasn't gotten up. Hell is literally frozen over because Satan's just such a chud. And so Charlie has to try to make him smile, and he just basically starts violently insulting him, just saying, come on, that vape. I mean, come on, that's something we can get away with right away. And he just gets more and more angry, and he wants to torture him for insulting him and ruining his day and just trying to make it all bad. And then eventually God appears and saves Charlie and is like, I hope you like this cool experience. You did great, Charlie. And sends him back, and we get the illustrious Mr. Boss funeral where it's like, Charlie, you were my everything. Charlie, oh, Charlie, I missed you, Charlie. What am I gonna do? And then it's a Christmas miracle as Charlie's revived and naked, and that's great. It's just a really fun episode of Smiling Friends. I love the plotline. I love everything Charlie does in hell. I thought Satan's animation was really cool, and I thought it was funny that they decided to make him a chud. It's just everything I need out of Smiling Friends. This one's gonna also be an 8 out of 10. We're in the controversial top 10, and at number 10, it's going to be Pim and Charlie Save Mother Nature. And I absolutely love this episode because, one, it subverts my expectations, it's hilarious, and it's a slow burn. I kind of like it, how even in 11 minutes, I have no idea what's going to happen, but just watching things like Mother Nature slowly get more and more angry is really entertaining. The beginning of it's very fun, where they roll up to the cabin, we get that awesome, just iconic rotoscope scheme, where Pim is like, I love Super Monkey Ball, you like Super Monkey Ball? Pim, come here. God, just gotta love that.
Dude, you like Super Monkey Ball? Pim. Bro, I knew I liked you, dude. Come here, bring it out.
And then Charlie, he wants to go and try to find this cryptid, this mythology, this hidden forest creature, and try to take a picture of it so that it can become rich and famous. So they're hunting it down. They run into Mothman, and who cares about Mothman? So they just insult him, and they eventually do find Mother Nature. And they decide to help her, you know, clean up the filth. And they just start singing, and you start watching it just get more and more demonic. And I like that anything doesn't happen, or nothing happens for a very long time, and nothing like crazy happens until like 8 minutes into the episode. At the same time, we have our B-plot with Alan just being like, me has to work, I need to get this done. While Mr. Boss is just trying to cook him a nice hot dog, treat him how to relax a little bit. And Charlie, he throws a can on the floor, and they blame it on Mothman, and he gets murdered instantly. And then a mushroom overhears Pim talking about how it was Charlie, and so Mother Nature is now going to try and slaughter them. And as fucking Charlie's about to get eaten, we just get to see Mr. Boss and Alan just getting extra freaky with each other, with Mr. Boss just licking it off of him, or Alan licking it off of him, and Mr. Boss going, oh!
Oh, I heard the boss Alan and Gleb swoop in and save us at the last second.
It was just so shocking that this is another one that just made me laugh uncontrollably. And a lot of people are like, why'd they make Mr. Boss and Alan gay? This had no build-up. What was going on? I don't give a shit. I don't care. It's so funny to watch Charlie on the verge of death and then just hear aggressive moaning as cookies are being licked off of a man's chest. There is nothing else that I could have needed in life. Pim ends up throwing a can into Mother Nature's mouth, killing her. And they go back, and I just like how they play it off where Alan is just like, thank you for helping me learn to relax, Mr. Boss. I really appreciate it. Yep, that's all there is to it. That's all I needed. This one is a 9 out of 10. At number 9 is the episode Brother's Egg, and I genuinely think this is one of the most criminally underrated episodes in all of Smiling Friends. Nobody ever seems to talk about it when they're discussing some of their favorite episodes, but I think it's completely and utterly hilarious in so many ways, with them going to help an evil scientist. And they get into his lab, and they're talking to him about how he's trying to create a homunculus, and they're talking, and he just is like, welcome to my evil lair! And then his just perfectly normal rotoscope brother walks in, and it's just like, hey, can you keep it down? And they start arguing, and he wants him to leave the house because he's just like, I'm trying to do important things too. And so now we have our two plot lines where Charlie needs to help the evil scientist to try to think better about himself and better himself to be a better roommate, while Pim is going to try to smooth things out with the brother. And I love this one scene where Charlie takes the evil scientist to lunch and is like, perhaps you just need to get laid. You know, you could create life like a normal way, like with a woman, like inside of the vag. Like you could just get in the clitoris, like fight that clitoris, wrestle it down and earn it and get in there and make a real nice baby. And he's like, I don't think I could talk to women. And so he starts trying to talk to a woman and is like, hello, I'm Dr. Evil. Oh, would you like to see my evil laboratory? And she screams and runs away.
Cotting! I'm making an egg with my DNA in my evil laboratory!
God, that shit's always so funny. And then Pim is talking to the brother at a construction site, and we watch these like little troll, like elf, like gnoblin things, like have their bodies crushed. And then one runs up and he's like, "No, my brother. I know we had our differences, but I wish I would have just told him that I loved him. No, my brother." And so he realizes that he wants to give it a shot with his brother. And they end up arguing, and we get one of the silliest rotoscope fights of all time. And they're fighting, they're bashing, and it turns out that one of Dr. Nefarious, or whatever his stupid name is, his egg hatches, and is like, hello, daddies, hello, daddies, hello, daddies.
Just look at you, you're a genius.
And starts aggressively sucking on their toes to end the episode with both of them realizing that they need to put down all of their differences and raise this homunculus together. Huzzah! What a wondrous way to end this episode. I think everything about it is completely and utterly hilarious. I just can't believe that this episode is talked about so little, and I feel like it doesn't get enough love. So yeah, it's honestly a 9 out of 10 for me. At number 8 is the episode Schmaloogles, and this episode is a Smurf parody, but it was just done so unbelievably well. With the beginning of the episode, Charlie and Pim driving out to see these Schmaloogle people, and they're basically just Smurfs, and so Charlie, he can't really do it because they're talking like, I'm gonna need some help with my Schmaloogle machine, it's just not Schmaloogling correctly. So Pim takes over, and that's when a dragon invades, kidnaps Pim, and takes him to this tower. So Charlie, he gets in the mindset that he needs to go and save Pim, so we get this super awesome training montage that's so damn hilarious, where the Schmaloogles like evolve into super buff and sexy machines just training into oblivion, rotoscoping everywhere in order to go and fight this grand wizard guy. At the same time, Pim is having this conversation that is so real, yet so funny. The guy is balding, so Pim is trying to get him to feel better about his baldness, and he decides to showcase what life as a bald man is clearly like. So he shows a picture of a bald guy, right, and asks Pim what kind of job he thinks he has, and Pim rightfully says, construction worker, blue collar, and then he puts a haircut on him. It's the same guy, just with a better haircut and a head of hair, and he's all like, ooh, I don't think that guy could, do blue collar work. He looks more like a representative of some sort.
Now,
What does this guy do? Ooh,
You just put hair on him.
That's not very good. And so Charlie invades all of them, even though Pym is at an understanding with this man. Charlie and the Schmooligals invade. That was a really fun scene. And eventually they come to an understanding, and they go to a gas station, and this guy accuses Charlie of taking a picture of Princess Schmooligals Smurfussy, and Charlie did not do that. You could even go back in the episode. Charlie was not thugging it with the desire for some Schmooligl goods. Yeah, it's just overall a really funny episode. It has a very relatable scene with the bald thing. It was just so eye-opening to how you could view a bald man. Yeah, it was really great, really funny, a 9 out of 10 for me. At number 7 is the episode The Enchanted Forest, and in this episode, Pym and Charlie have to go to the Enchanted Forest to try to get the princess of the Enchanted Forest to smile. And in this adventure, they meet Mip, and Charlie's a little bit apprehensive of the Enchanted Forest, but Pym is very excited, and they start doing a bunch of adventures with Mip, drinking a potion, having a good time, solving all of these stories, and Pym is starting to feel a little bit left out. But it is really awesome and fun to watch Charlie just go around doing all these things in the slow decay of Pym's mind as he basically becomes Gollum. Why does Charlie get to have so much fun in the Enchanted Forest? I wanted to have fun, which causes him to kill Mip. Not before Charlie and Mip have a very sexual interaction next to the fire where they're like, oh, I think you're my hero, Charlie. I think you're my hero, Mip.
I'd be honored. No, I'm the one who's honored to be in the presence of such a hero. Well, maybe it was your song that helped me become a hero.
And they go to bed, not knowing what the next day awaits them, and Pym brutally murders Mip, and so they vow to take Mip's little treasure box to the princess, because that's all she wanted. And so they go there, they meet the princess, and they're offering to make her smile, and so she opens the box, and it's a fucking bomb, and she tosses out the window, barely surviving, because Mip was apparently a deranged stalker. And the fact that Mip is dead, that's what gets the princess to smile. God, it's just, this show can just subvert your expectations in so many good ways. It was hilarious to get there. I love the journey. And then that potion that Charlie randomly decided to drink from Mip ends up biting him in the ass in like the final section of the episode where he's like a green cucumber man. And that was also really good. I love this episode. It's a 9 out of 10. At number 6 is the episode Mr. Frog, and I'm Mr. Frog, I eat the bug, this is my show. That was the iconic Mr. Frog show until he decided to put a reporter inside of his mouth. Okay, so Charlie and Pym have to try to help him to solve his problem of being a Chaos Lord and try to help him repair his image. And I just love watching this deranged frog go around, like, strangling his fans after he's just like, hi, Mr. Frog, can I get an autograph? And just starts grabbing him. Like, what the fuck are you doing, man?
Mr. Frog is.
Charlie, he doesn't look too good.
Oh, can I get a selfie with you, Mr. Frog?
And then they're like, okay, well, let's get him off drugs. And he's sitting there at this charity event like, just losing it. And then he chops off a woman's hands with a giant check. It's really fun to watch this deranged frog, what can I say? And at the same time, Glep is trying to become the new Mr. Frog for the new Mr. Frog show, and Mr. Frog shows up to apologize for all of his wrongdoings, and just puts the producer inside of his mouth, eating him up, and apparently, nobody was mad at Mr. Frog for putting the reporter in the mouth. They were just mad that he didn't finish the job. He should have been evil and chaotic. That's what everybody loves, and that's pretty much the entire episode. It's just pure chaos the entire time. It makes me laugh. What else could I say? 9 out of 10. Voyage Incroyable de Frog. And this is probably one of the most shocking episodes in all of Smiling Friends, especially when it was initially airing. I had no idea where the episode was gonna go, but God, do they take you for a ride that is just emotional, full of passion, and makes you shed a tear by the end of it, because Mr. Frog finally finds his inner peace. At the beginning of the episode, Mr. Frog has apparently taken over the entire world. He was the world leader, and he doesn't like that anymore, so he tells them all to go fuck themselves. He's done with it, and goes to a a bar to start singing Dust in the Wind. He's very sad, so Charlie and Pym try to help him, and these scenes are short and sweet, but I really enjoy them. They initially make him go to UFC, and he just brutalizes everybody there, not even moving a muscle, and killing them all. And then they go to the park, and Pym's all like, there's so much you could love. You could have love and romance. You could have a family. And then Mr. Frog just decks him, just punches him as hard as he can, and is like, I don't know who you are, but thank you. He goes home and meets with his father, who is none other than Creed Bratton, the singer of the Grassroots, the main man. And he just literally put on the performance of a lifetime here. I don't think he's ever acted this hard in anything. This is truly just such a moving performance, where he's talking to Mr. Frog about how disappointed he is. Your mother's gone. Cancer. And where were you? She was sitting in the hospital bed saying, where's my boy? Where's my boy?
I'm sorry.
Sorry? Be sorry for your poor mother, whose last words were, where is he? Where's my boy? Where's my boy?
You could just feel the pain in his heart as he's delivering all of these lines, and Mr. Frog has nothing left to do but to leave the house in a rage. He likes the silence. And that's when he meets, I don't know, the god of the world. He's a little bug, and he's like, I will give you the answers to all of your questions, but, do you know how to fix a computer? Do you know how to, like, deal with a virus or something? I don't know. I think I need to call, like Geek Squad or something to come and take a look at my computer. But anyway, so he touches the bug, he eats the bug, and we just get the flash of his entire life, everything about it. It was beautiful, it was lovely, and then Mr. Frog says, I'm Mr. Frog, goodbye, as he turns into an actual frog. Has there been anything so cinematic? Has there been anything this well written? Has there been anything this beautiful? I don't know. This episode for me is a 10 out of 10. I absolutely love it. At number 4 is the episode Mole Man, and I will not let anybody squander the name Mole Man in the goddamn comment section. A lot of people will say, how can you rank Mole Man this high? Because it's hilarious in every single way. Every single character gets to shine in some kind of meaningful way in this episode, and it's just unbelievably hilarious. With Pym and Charlie having a conversation, then all of a sudden the floor literally collapses in on itself. They fall all the way into the ground, and God, Mr. Boss is like, the smiling friends are over, and starts bawling and crying. Alan's like, Mr. Boss, we can still be the smiling friends, the smalling fronds. And then he just gets up and starts going,
You're back! I thought I already was a smiling friend.
And he does that for the rest of the episode. It's great. I love it. It's all I need. Then Charlie and Pym wake up, and we get to meet Mole Man, who's like, hello, did you look at my disgusting penis? Oh, I hope not. Because nobody could ever take a gander at his, you know, disgusting little penis. Because it's so gross and disgusting, according to Mole Man. And he's just so psychotic, but it works so well with Pym and Charlie's just like nonchalant vibe of just trying to get through this crazy scenario. Pym and Charlie are obviously very whimsical characters, but they're also very relatable in a sense that makes it really enjoyable to watch them in a crazy situation like this. Like with Mole Man pretending to be this smiling friend and is like, oh, we're going to go on such silly adventures, oh, and then they go to a house for a smiling friend operation, and so Alan and Glep, they have to take over, and they have to go and try to make this woman smile. So they go to her house, and Alan's like, Glep, we cannot mess this up, we have to do this just right. Hello, we are the smalling fronds, fuck. And then they just start trying to take care of this woman's kids, who just start violating Glep and doing horrible, atrocious things to them, beating Alan, and it's hilarious. The physical, like, slapstick comedy is on point in this episode. And eventually, Pym and Charlie, they're talking to Mole Man, and Mole Man's... he wants validation for his disgusting penis! And... God, it's just such an awful scene where they're like, what do you think of his penis, Charlie? What do you think? Do you think it's great? Do you think it's lovely? What do you think about it? And Charlie's like, no, I'm not talking about this. I'm not talking about this. And Mole Man loses his mind, starts going into a psychotic meltdown.
They hate my penis? No,
So Pim and Charlie have to try to escape running away from him. They eventually end up at the same house that Charlie and Pim are at, where Alan and Glep are just getting bodied by these children, and it was kind of the most predictable ending in the entire series. The second I saw this single mother, I was like, oh my god, she's gonna fall in love with Mole Man's stinky, disgusting penis. She takes one look at that thing, and she's like, oh, you got a new mole daddy, didn't you? Ooh, oh yeah. And that's pretty much the entire episode. I laugh at this entire episode every time I watch it. I think it's hilarious. I like Mole Man as a villain. I love the entire B-plot with Alan and Glep. Just watching them suffer is hilarious. Once again, the slapstick is on point. It is just a perfect episode from beginning to end. It's a 10 out of 10, one of my favorites. And number 3 is a Alan adventure. And this episode probably made Alan my favorite character in the show just because he's so unbelievably funny. All of his reactions, the voice acting, the animation in this episode was just done so well. With Alan waking up and just wanting to start his day, his landlord is like, hello Alan, would you like to smoke weed and fill our bellies with diet soda and play Burnout Revenge for the PS2? Alan says, no thank you, I have to go to work. And so he goes to work, and Mr. Boss just crumbles his finger and is like, I need some of these. And Alan says, paper clips? Do you mean paper clips? So he has to go and do that in order to get a special reward, and crazy stuff just keeps happening. He goes to a hardware store, gets in a kerfuffle with a guy, doesn't work out there. He goes to the bad part of town. They have some paper clips, but the old man, he likes the shape of paper clips because they could finagle with any kind of electronic, and he's like, oh, I can't give you any. And then Alan is all like, have you tried using your nose? Because his nose is in the exact shape of the paper clips, and just his pure shock and delight always brings some warmth to my heart when this old man realizes that he could just use his nose, and he's been doing it wrong for so many years, and how beautiful it is.
This actually works. This somehow works better than the paper clips. My business is going to thrive now.
So Alan walks out with the paper clips. They immediately get stolen by this evil man, and the animation just gets upscaled by like times 1,000 as he's riding on a helicopter chasing down this man trying to get the paper clips. He eventually goes to this cave after they crash land. Bigfoot goes out to take a piss, so he tries to take him again, and this evil pirate guy gets in a pirate ship and runs away with the paper clips once again. The progression of this episode is insane. It just keeps upping itself. They eventually get eaten by a giant sea monster, and Alan stabs the innards of the beast and gets launched out of it, and it turns out the paper clips aren't even in there. There is just a address for one place that he has to go, and it's his apartment. He opens the door, and we get greeted to, hello Alan, I was wondering if you'd like to smoke weed and fill our bellies with diet soda and play Burnout Revenge for the PS2.
Just wondering if you wanted to hang out with me and smoke weed and fill our bellies with diet soda and play Burnout Revenge for the PS2.
And so Alan, having no choice, because the Mr. Landlord also has a bomb strapped to his chest, has to also now play Burnout Revenge with Mr. Landlord. And you know, it kind of took away the warmth of my heart knowing this, but then the old man earlier from the paperclip store, he tells Alan to use the paperclips in order to defuse the bomb using the special shape of his nose, and he says that he also died and then gets dragged down to hell.
Anyways, I should be getting back to hell now.
And so he defuses the bomb, and Mr. Landlord commits seppuku and kills himself. So Alan gets his paperclips, goes back to the office, and the special award was a tiny version of Mr. Boss, which I would have cherished with my life, but Alan doesn't want it, and that's pretty much the entire episode. It is just 11 minutes of pure entertainment. Everything about it is hilarious. Everything about it is paced well. It's crazy. It's everything I would want in a Smiling Friends episode. Definitely deserves to be in the top 3. Once again, 10 out of 10. And number 2 is the episode Gwimbly. The top 2 are probably no surprise to anybody because they're clearly and obviously the best episodes of Smiling Friends. Just from beginning to end, they're just perfect in every single way. The beginning of this episode is Charlie and Pim helping a guy who's just covering his eyes, saying that he's blind, and they tell him to just move it, and then they're just happy. And so they're walking back to the HQ, and Alan is like, I'm spraying this homeless man with dirty brown water. Until Pim realizes that this is Gwimbly from Gwimbly Definitive Remastered 4K, the video game, one of his heroes, who apparently is homeless now because he's been thrown away, cast to the side for bigger and better games. And I love Gwimbly's character. I think he's so hilarious. This introduction scene is so funny. where he's like, well, I don't do my special victory dance for nobody. Okay, I can do it just once. Hoo, hoo, hoo. Okay, I'll do it one more time. Hoo, hoo, hoo.
Okay, I guess just this once I can do it for nothing. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
And then he goes to the alleyway to get his money, and he starts doing a cameo.
Hey, James from Idaho. A little birdie told me it's your birthday today, and you're also a big fan of Gwimbly. Oh yeah, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Oh hey, heard it was somebody's birthday. Oh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Like, it's so dumb, but it's so funny. I love it. So they decide they're gonna help Gwimbly to get back into the game, and that's when we get to meet the big villain. And it's just like, I don't know who they're necessarily making fun of. Maybe just like the Ubisoft CEO, who probably does just sit there with his McDonald's chicken nuggies, just dipping them in sauce like, we need more Assassin's Creed games that aren't even better than any of the past 10 we've made, but we need to duplicate. Pretty much. So, yeah, I like that villain. He doesn't like that Gwimbly is here. He doesn't want him here because it's all about the next big thing. He brings out his monster, and so Gwimbly has to leave. He goes and tries to find all of his friends to help him to make the game. His like main villain doesn't want to because he has a wife who is very distraught by the sight of Charlie, Pym, and Gwimbly. So that doesn't work out. So they're like, let's go find Mr. Millipede. I love Mr. Millipede. But Mr. Millipede, he died to fentanyl. He took too much fent for Mr. Millipede. And so, we also have, oh wait, it's just been Pym and Alan helping him the entire time. I'm sorry, I got that confused. It wasn't Charlie. Charlie didn't want to deal with Gwimbly. He's staying at the house. And there's this guy that is just forcing Charlie throughout this entire episode to be a maid because he just breaks in and he's a demented man and he just starts assaulting Charlie, just forcing him to do everything. And eventually Charlie's wearing a maid outfit and he's like, can you please smile, just do anything. And then the man rips off his nose and Charlie just screams violently.
Please, just smile.
Dude, I couldn't focus on what you were saying with that thing on your face. I was sick of staring at it.
And so, the video game villain guy is chasing them down, hunting down Gwimbly, Alan, and so they're running away, and they end up back at the Smiling Friends HQ, and that's when the guy who's been tormenting Charlie just stabs the video game CEO in the head, killing him, and that makes him smile, so he leaves, and Gwimbly ends up joining Super Smash Bros. That's the best way to end the episode. Now, I know my description probably wasn't the best. The best way to enjoy this stuff is just to watch the episode yourself because it's so unbelievably good. Every single part of this episode made me laugh. I love the villain. I love both plots within the episode. It is just entertaining, and Gwimbly was a great character. It's one of those episodes where you watch it and immediately you go on Reddit and people are saying, well, they hit this one out of the park. It's going to be really hard to top this one, so every other episode just isn't going to be as good as that one. It's going to be very hard because it just is that good. It is a perfect episode of Smiling Friends. At number 1, it can't really be anything else, it's Desmond's Big Day Out. Now, I know I used the word perfect to describe the past few episodes, but this episode is just on a league of its own. It is the first episode that they ever made, and they just hit it out of the park that every episode they made after that was just competing to try to be like this one, to try to capture the feeling of this episode, because this episode is hilarious. It takes the concept of the show and just elevates it. You immediately just get enthralled, and you immediately want more. It does everything that a pilot should do, and it just does every other episode better than they could ever try to be. The episode opens with Charlie and Pym being told that they have a job, so they have to go and try to find Desmond, a young boy who is struggling with life. And I love the A and the B plot with Alan being all like, have you seen my precious cheese? I need to catch these little mousies. And this was a great introduction to Alan as well, and the chaos of the show, because just combining these two plot lines just meshes perfectly at the end, that both of them are entertaining, but when they finally just meet each other, it makes the perfect ending. So Charlie and Pym, they go to this house, they meet this crazy old woman who knocks on her little boy's door and is like, Desmond, the Smiling Friends are here. They open the door and it's just a like 35 to 40-year-old man holding a gun to his head.
Buddy, how are you doing?
Whoa, oh my God. Whoa.
Hello.
That genuinely shocked me the first time I watched this because I just kept hearing, Smiling Friends is so good, Smiling Friends is amazing, you gotta check it out. And then just seeing that, it was just beyond comprehension of what this show could be. And so he's gonna kill himself, but Charlie and Pym, they don't let that happen. They try to give him one last good day to truly try to get him to save his life and not want to die. And everything that Charlie and Pym take him to do is just more funny than the last. Like first, oh, what about friends? So they go to a party where Pym just gets bullied for being old and just gets smoke blown into his face, so that doesn't work out. But what about family? And so they go to Pym's house for a family reunion, and everything about this scene is so funny. From Pym's parents yelling at each other saying, would you just let me, I've been down in the bloody mines for 12 hours, woman, would you just let me rest? And then Pym's girlfriend bringing her just big old buff boyfriend who is sitting there, and she's just kissing them like, right babe. And then he eventually throws up and just starts going, oh, I'm sorry, I ruined it.
Whoa. I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I ruined it. I'm sorry.
It's just so much chaos, but it's so funny. And Desmond's reaction of, this is supposed to make me not want to kill myself? Yeah, that's pretty valid, man. It doesn't really look too good, does it? So they eventually take him to a theme park. At the same time, Alan, he's just going through the floorboards. He meets a guy who was pretty rude to him, and he eventually finds these little creatures and starts chasing them down, and it's just like, please, I just want my cheese. And he touches this like floating purple nutsack, and a bunch of those creatures all spill out and just attack Alan. And so they're we have Charlie and Pym at the theme park. They have fun, but then Desmond is just like, is this the point of life? Just momentary happiness? It's just always gonna come and go. It doesn't even matter because the sun's gonna explode, which breaks Pym's mind, and Pym is sad for the rest of the episode. But even just this one thing was what truly made me love the show. If you could make something this simplistic make me laugh, then you already have my heart. Where Charlie is given a shot to try to help Desmond. He hasn't been doing much, and he's just like, well, what about that ant? What? The ant? I mean, I guess it's kind of cool, but it doesn't make me not want to kill myself.
Alright, yeah, what about that?
What? The ant?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, just something about how simplistic that conversation was. It always gets me to chuckle. And so they decide to go back to Smiling Friends HQ, so Desmond has to sign a paper saying that they couldn't help him smile, and they end up getting there, and Alan is literally being crucified by the Blibblies. Yep, I just wanted my cheese. And so, Desmond, he shoots one of them with his gun and finds a passion for brutally slaughtering Blimblies. So he finds a purpose in life and wants to live and is able to smile and be happy. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. It's just perfect from beginning to end. The A and B plot tie together in a wonderful way. It's hilarious. I love this episode. It is just the perfect Smiling Friends episode, and it's better than all the other ones in its entirety. It's an 11 out of 10. And there you have it. That's every single episode of Smiling Friends ranked from worst to best. And I would love if you would comment your favorite episode, your least favorite episode, maybe even your whole ranking, because the thing about this is I know I'm gonna get a bunch of people just being like, I disagree with you, you're so wrong, you're so big and large, you fucking dumbass, I can't believe you wouldn't put my favorite episode up here. You know, I'm gonna get a lot of people like that, but the beauty of this show is that it truly is so good. If I was to look at your list, I would be all like, oh yeah, I don't blame you for having that at number 1. I don't blame you for having that all the way at the bottom. I don't blame it for being in the middle, because all of the episodes are truly so good. And with Smiling Friends going away, I really hope we get more animated shows that have as much passion and as much comedic skill as this show. I'm really glad that we had it. I'm sad that it's over, but I'm just thankful we had it in the first place. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.